The oath of office will now be administered to the Lieutenant Governor, the Honorable David Dewhurst, by the Chief Justice of the Texas Supreme Court, Wallace B. Jefferson.
It is my honor to administer the oath using the Bible Sam Houston used 150 years ago for the administration of the oath of office. Governor, if you'll raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, David Dewhurst, do solemnly swear.
I, David Dewhurst, do solemnly swear
that I will faithfully execute the duties
that I will faithfully execute the duties
of Lieutenant Governor of the State of Texas
of Lieutenant Governor of the State of Texas,
and will, to the best of my ability, preserve, protect, and defend
the
Constitution and laws of the United States and of this state, so help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations, Governor.
Thank you very much.
The oath of office will now be administered to the Governor, the Honorable Rick Perry, by Chief Justice Wallace B. Jefferson.
It's my honor to administer the oath, Governor. If you'll raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Rick Perry, do solemnly swear.
I, Rick Perry, do solemnly swear
that I will faithfully execute the duties
that I will faithfully execute the duties
of the officer of Governor of the State of Texas
of the office of Governor of the State of Texas
and will, to the best of my ability, preserve, protect, and defend
the
Constitution and laws of the United States and of this state, so help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations, Governor.
Thank you, sir. I love you. I got a little lipstick on you. Thank you, brother. David. Thank you, brother. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Woo! David, thank you. Appreciate you being here, brother. Thank you, Teal. I guess our flyover, I think it was probably, hoo-ah, hoo-ah.
It is a distinct pleasure and privilege to introduce to you His Excellency, the Governor of Texas, the Honorable Rick Perry.
Thank you, Joseph. Thank you, brother.
I think I'll stick with that.
Thank you. Thank you. Speaker Strauss, Julie, thank you both for being great partners, and I look forward to working with you again this session. Lieutenant Governor Patricia, it's been a distinct honor for me to get to spend the last 8 years working with you, and look forward to 4 more glorious years. And my fellow statewide elected officials, members of the judiciary, members of the House and the Senate, my friends, Texans, it's an honor to once again take the oath of office as your governor. I just think the Capitol looks awesome in maroon. You know, it's interesting, for 154 years, they kept an Aggie out of the governor's office. You know, there's some people out there that think I'm not ever going to leave. But here's the fact. Even if I'd never served a day in this office, I'd still be the most blessed man on earth because of my wife. She has served this state as the First Lady with grace, with dignity. And simply put, I love you. And like you, I thank God every day for the gift of two wonderful children, Sydney and Griffin, and our wonderful new daughter-in-law, Meredith. And I'm blessed to have, I got to tell you, I got the best parents that a guy could ever hope to have. And Mr. and Miss Ray Perry, Mom and Dad, thank you both for being here. Wonderful in-laws. I mean, I'm one of those rare guys that I got the best mother-in-law in the world. She loves me, I love her. And Dr. Joe, thank you for being a great father-in-law. You know, both our fathers, they, like yours, David, they fought in World War II. And, you know, we didn't have to look past our family to find true heroes. I look around this audience today, and there are heroes amongst us here. Ordinary kinds, kind who get up every day and they work hard. You pay your taxes. You teach your children values that'll sustain them. And there's also some extraordinary heroes amongst us, scattered out across this crowd on this stage. Those who know the enormous price of freedom because they paid it with their own blood. And I speak of the veterans of our nation's wars, men and women who called to service, who answered that call. They trained for the rigors of battle. Then they pushed their bodies and their minds and their spirits to the limit. Their sacrifice, or their service, I should say, required sacrifices that no man or woman should ever have to endure. The terror of battle, the death of friends, the lasting injuries, the ones that you see and the ones that are unseen. For these men and women, sacrifice isn't just a word, it's a way of life. I'm talking about Texans like R.V. Bergen from Lancaster, Texas, who fought his way across the Pacific Islands of Peleliu and Okinawa. John Keith Wells of Abilene, Texas, a Navy Cross recipient who led a platoon of Marines through the hell of Iwo Jima. Ben Berger, who hit the Normandy beaches on D-Day with Earl Rudder and the 5th Ranger Battalion. And then there was teenage Marine Jay Kimbrough, Dallas, Texas, who was badly wounded when his assault helicopter was shot down southwest of Da Nang. And Captain Dan Moran, who you've already seen this morning, who was hit by an IED on Iraq's Anbar province. If anyone here in this audience today If you defended freedom as a member of our armed forces, David, you and your veterans, please stand or wave so we can recognize you and tell you thank you for the service that you have done to this country. God bless you, every one of you. So on behalf of 25 million Texans, I want to thank you. Thank you for your service. Those of us fortunate enough to work in this building must always remember that it is an honor and a privilege to serve. You see, words like sacrifice should be reserved for those who have made our service possible. As we reflect together on all that has transpired since that icy cold of our last inaugural, you know, much has changed in the world. You know, while conditions have improved for our troops in Iraq, Dan, they've gotten worse in Afghanistan. Here at home, we've seen catastrophic events in the marketplace that have unleashed an economic recession unlike anything that we've seen for 70 years. The failure of major financial institutions led to tighter credit, massive foreclosures, staggering layoffs. Risky practices in the private sector were compounded by poor spending decisions in the public sector. With bloated stimulus spending, record debt, massive entitlement programs, Washington has America on a collision course with bankruptcy. Now, while Texas, we've fared better than most other states, we've not gone untouched by this global recession, and we cannot forget those Texans who are dealing with the fear and uncertainty of joblessness. And while much has changed in the last 4 years, one thing hadn't changed: the character, the resilience, the resourcefulness of our citizens. Texans just we don't like the word impossible. You know, something has never been done before, it's just because we hadn't tried. We tamed the frontier. We farmed our own republic. We discovered oil, transformed the marketplace. We pioneered space. Matter of fact, the first word spoken from the moon was Houston. That's right, a city whose namesake, a person whose birthplace wasn't Texas, he was Texan by choice, like millions more who would follow. And while our budget challenges are substantial, for the good of the 25 million pioneers that we call Texans, for a people who work hard to get ahead, we must balance our budget without raising taxes. Since the last legislative session ended, I've traversed this great state, as David has, meeting with Texans from every walk of life, and I've listened. And I heard their belief that tough economic times require strong leadership and tough choices for everyone. And I've heard their calls for government that's smarter, leaner, more accountable. They reminded me that there is no such thing as government money. It's the people's money in government's hands. Texas families have endured this long season of economic trouble by tightening their own budgets and making tough choices. Texas employers have streamlined operations. They're becoming more and more innovative and efficient, making their lives harder. Just makes our jobs easier. That's no answer. That's a failure of leadership. As Texans, we always take care of the least among our population, the frail, the young, the elderly, the people on fixed income, those in situations of abuse and neglect. We've always done that. people whose needs are greater than the resources at their disposal, they can count on the people of Texas to be there for them. We're going to protect them, support them, empower them. But we cannot risk the future of millions of taxpayers in the process. We must cut spending to keep our economic engine on track. As our legislators do the hard work of trimming the agency budgets, the headlines are going to be dominated by impacted constituency. But these tough times dictate government doing more with less. That's what we campaigned on, and that's what we're going to deliver. We need to prioritize, justify every penny, validate every investment made. During this session, Texas will prove again that fiscal responsibility, sound policy making, a passion for individual liberty are essential to the success of employers, institutions, and families. You see, we cannot exercise fiscal discipline in governing Texas. If we can't do that, I doubt it can be achieved anywhere, least of all Washington. With our nation now mired in more than $14 trillion of debt, accountability and fiscal responsibility will not come from Washington. It will come from places like Texas. Texas is still the engine of America's economy, and we're proud to lead the nation in Fortune 1000 companies, international exports, job creation. Those jobs are more than just statistics. They provide a wealth and opportunity for our citizens and families. The jobs aren't just going to the big cities either. They're going to little towns like Cuero and Seguin, where employers have relocated or expanded their operations thanks to the job-friendly climate we've created and worked so hard to create. Texans are also creating new technologies that are saving lives. At companies like Falcon International in Odessa, Texas, they're creating a new body armor technology there that will protect our troops who go into harm's way. Those same young men and women who are protecting the American way. Texans are also on the leading edge of discovery in the race to find cures for various forms of cancer, a disease that has extinguished the hopes of too many, too young. Through initiatives like the Cancer Prevention and Research Institute of Texas, in conjunction with our universities, medical centers, high-tech firms, we are doing groundbreaking medical research that will save lives that would otherwise be lost. As Texans continue to invent and innovate and change the face of medicine, science, and business, we must apply the same creativity and commitment to creating a safe and secure border. With us today is a delegation of governors and businessmen from our neighboring states and Mexico. I am very grateful for the honor of their presence today, and I appreciate our excellent working relationship. You see, we not only share a common border with these leaders, but a common past, a common present, a common future. We're not only joined together by geography and economics, but by cultural ties, family roots. We share great opportunity and great challenges. But on this celebration day, the drug-related violence along our border, it may seem like it's a million miles away, but the reality is it has arrived at our doorstep. And the fact is, it should be addressed by our respective federal governments, but we can't stand idly by while our citizens are threatened. Our state's efforts to secure the border have made our citizens safer, and we must continue to prevent the flow of cross-border violence. For all of us, a secure border means a more stable economy, safer families, a brighter future. Throughout history, in good times and bad. Texans have endured, identifying opportunities, counting the cost, and then just outworking everybody else in the race for success. As their elected leaders, we have an obligation to govern as we promised. As elected leaders, we have sworn to uphold the Constitution of this great state, in whose Bill of Rights this key phrase resides: all political power is inherent in the people, and all free governments are founded on their authority and instituted for their benefit. As we do so, our vision must extend beyond the next 140 days, across the next decade, into the rest of this century. We must continue investing in our people, developing young minds, and grooming and attracting the best and the brightest in the fields of science and medicine, giving individuals the tools and the freedom to prosper. Given our state's economic success compared to the others and Washington's ongoing irresponsibility, I believe Texas will lead the way out of this turmoil. You might say historians will look back at this century and call it the Texas century. Think about it. Americans once looked to the East Coast for opportunity and inspiration, and then they went to the West Coast. Today, they're looking at the Gulf Coast, and they're looking to Texas. Our state is the new best hope for entrepreneurs and small businesses, the place where Americans can redeem their promise and fulfill their potential. We have the resources to meet our challenges, the vision to apply them for a more prosperous future. This is our time. This is our place in history. We must seize the moment. Plant the seeds of opportunity that bloom beyond the years. We must show the world the endless possibilities of freedom and free enterprise. And if I've said it once, I've said it 1,000 times, and we'll say it 1,000 more. There is still a place where opportunity looms large in this country, and that place is called Texas. 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 God bless you. And through you, may God continue to bless the great state of Texas.